Hi everyone. So today in this video we are going to continue with our ALV reporting, and then we will try to create an interactive ALV report here. So uh, I think some time back we worked on normal interactive report wherein we were navigating from one list, or maybe you can call it a primary list, to a secondary list. Similarly in this video, or maybe obviously it's a video, but then in the concept of interactive ALV we will be moving from one ALV output. It could be a list output, it could be a grid output, to a different ALV output. Now, or maybe there would be multiple ALV outputs, we can navigate from one to next, and then so on. Now, before we try to create an interactive report, I would also like to tell you something else here. So, if you remember, we created an ALV output wherein it was coming in the form of a grid. So when I'm saying grid, so basically grid is something very similar to our Excel sheet. But then there is another function module provided by SAP. So not this one. This one. So this function module is responsible to display the output in grid display, but then there is another function module provided by SAP. So if you see here, everything almost remains same except list and grid. So we'll just see what kind of output it shows. So our callback program, as usual, it's going to be the system program. System program means the current program on which we are working. And then here we have IT underscore VB history. You can open the exceptions. It won't be found. Printer, let's see what is the issue there. So in the selection screen we will get two options, like we used radio button. So parameter or underscore or RB1 type button. go to text element, then go to selection text. First one, let's call it a quick display. Second one, we'll call it the list display. So now if you run your report, so you have the option of grid and list. So if I come here, so it could be like if v1 equal to x, then we can call the grid display function module. And then else if v2 equal to x, then we can call the list display function module. And if so let's go here, and then if I do a default selection, if I execute this, so I get this grid output here. But then if I select this and execute, so I don't get anything. Yeah, so field catalog is missing. That's why. So you can see this one is the list output. Now this is the difference which I was trying to explain yesterday, that if you go here and then try to see the output of a table content, so it will come in two different formats. So one is going to be ALV grid and then other is going to be ALV list. So why I showed this output to you is obviously first because of the type of ALVs we have here, but then the other thing which I wanted to explain, don't know why it's so slow. So the other thing which I wanted to explain here is, let's say I'm going with a grid display and then I'm scheduling this program as a background job. Program execute in background. This virtual machine is running for quite some time, that's the reason it's very slow now. So I need to restart it, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Today let's focus on the interactive report. So I have already explained about background job, so I don't need to explain it again. I'll go to SM37 and I'll try to see the job scheduled by me on today's date. And then because this was an immediate schedule, so you can see the job completed. If I execute it, so you can see this program is okay, it's still take some more time. So what you can do, you can select this, you can go to step. In the step you will see that this is the program, and then you can go to variant. So you'll see that what all things we passed in the selection screen. So this is the way you analyze a background job normally. So you can see that selection screen default screen number is 1000. Sales document we didn't enter anything, which means it will pick that 100 or 200 documents, and then we are looking for grid display. So if I go back, this is finished. If I select this, so if there is an output, it will be shown in a spool. If I go to spool, if I click here, so what I wanted to explain here is that even though we are trying to go for a grid display, but in background that grid won't be initialized, and then system automatically converts out in a list display. So you should be aware of that fact, and it might be an interview question as well, or you might come across this situation. That is one thing. Second thing which I wanted to tell you is that in some cases you'll come across a ready-made program, and then you might need to make some changes there. So you already know that when you create a program from scratch, I have already explained in one of the videos, you should put some details here and all, but then next time whenever you are going to make any changes, for example, if I go here in display, I added a new function module. So in the existing code, if you write anything, you can mention that begin of change by your name on, let's say, line first, something here. You can mention the TR details, and then where your change is completed, you can mention end of change when there is on this date. So this is a good practice, this is a standard practice, and this helps the other person to identify that what changes were made and by whom, so that he doesn't need to spend much time. And the other thing which I wanted to tell here is that in a normal scenario, I have already explained, I think in one of the videos, we generally go with 70-30 ratio, which means if there is a 100 line of code in the program, so out of those 100 lines, at least 30 lines should be a comment. 30 lines will be comment, and then 70 lines would be the actual code. So that whosoever looks on that code, he gets a fair idea, and he doesn't need to go to TS and then waste his time. So this is a good practice, and even many times you can also come across some of your very old developed programs. For example, you worked on something some 4 years back and 5 years back, and you don't remember. So your comments itself would help you in terms of understanding. So this is one of the tips I wanted to give today. And then you know that grid display cannot be seen in the background mode. It works only in foreground mode. And then let's go to interactive ALV. Now, interactive ALV, there are two ways of doing it. So you know that I'm fetching my data here. I'm fetching some records here in ITBBAK. Now there is one way of doing it, that for example, if I double click on this one, so I want to see all the sales item related to the sales document. Now there are two ways of doing it. One, when I double click, I go to VBAP based on this sales document number. I hit VBAP and then I pull all the line items, and again I display in an ALV grid. Or I pull all the data in advance, I keep it in one internal table, and then as and when there is a double click on any of the sales document, I go to that internal table, I read the corresponding data, store it in a different internal table, and display it in the output. So both ways would work. It all depends on you, that you are going to choose which approach, but in my opinion I am going to choose second approach, because when the program is running for the first time itself, that time itself it will do all the processing, and it will keep the data in the buffer. So every time it doesn't need to go and hit the database, because let's say there are 100 documents, and then user is hitting 100 times on each sales document one by one. So it means it's going to hit the database for 100 times, and then it will just affect the performance of the database, especially for that particular database. So multiple hits on a particular database or a table basically decreases the performance. So that is not recommended. So my approach, so obviously both the approaches would work, but my approach is I'll fetch the data in advance. Now, and then the other thing which you should now remember, that whenever you are creating an ALV report, you have to write this, and then you have to write this. These three things are going to help you always, and then there would be many ALV reports which you are going to, so many ALV reports will be there in your career which you are going to create today, tomorrow, or sometime. So all you need to do, copy these two lines and then this one line, and then you are good to go. Rest everything will go like normal report. Now what I'm doing here is I'm creating a ITVBAP type. So obviously this does not exist, so we will create it. We will pull some fields from there. Let's see. So in real time, whenever you get an object, you have all the rights to ask the necessary questions to your functional consultant or the users whom you are interacting with, and don't start any development without having the proper info, because your estimations might go wrong, or your team lead's estimations might go wrong, because you don't have the proper info. You have started on the development and then you stuck somewhere in between, which is affecting your estimation, and then eventually it will affect the overall budget for that object, and then client also might be pissed off because of that. So I have an internal table which will store the data of VBAP. So my approach is that I want to fetch everything in one go. So as I explained earlier, if now whatever is the case, I'm going to have the data in ITVBAK. If not IT underscore VBAK initial, then I want to sort IT underscore VBAK by VBAL. And why I want to sort it? Because if the data is already sorted, so when it hits the next database, that is VBAP, the performance is better. So select. So it's a standard practice, you have to do it every time whenever you are going to fetch the data from next database based on the already fetched data. So from VBAP into table items for all entries in item underscore VBAP. So in this case it will fetch the data either 1000 records or whatever the selection criteria is, and then based on that it will go and hit the line items table, and it will store everything in IT underscore VBAP. If initial, which means my operation is successful, and not IT underscore VBAP, which means there is some data in IT underscore VBAP. We will sort this one as well. Sort. So I hope this is clear till now. So I did nothing except fetching the data from a new database, that is VBAP database table, and then I am sorting it as well. So sorting it based on the keywords, that is sales document number and line item number. So we are okay till now. Now whatever I have fetched from VBAP, I need to create a field cat for that as well. Now already these two are already used for VBAK. So what we can do, we can create one more. Let's say items for fcat 1. In fact, no need to create this work area because it's not required. WFcat is enough. Work area structure is same. Only we need a new internal table. So we will copy this. But before that, now, if you see here, my first ALV grid is displayed here. Now, next thing is, I want to trigger my next output only when there is a user command, which means there is a double click by the user. So for that, there is a syntax. Let me just try to copy it from one of the web pages. So here you see form display detail using ucom like ucom selection field type slis cell field. So I'll go back to here. I'll show you something. This one. So when you select something, when you do any selection on the screen, system automatically goes and then it picks all the properties of that particular field. So basically we are talking about the field name. So that particular field which we are double clicking, it will go and fetch the details. So if you see here, so we'll write the same thing, form display. Okay, let's go with that. Form display underscore items. So basically user command like ucom, as you already know, ucom is the notation for the user command, system user command selection field, that field on which we are making a double click. Using no, like we will use like is obsolete. moment I hit a pretty printer, you see the system has already done the formatting by default. Breakpoint here. Oh, even I have also started forgetting things. So. Yes, so we want to tell the ALV grid that what is going to be our user command. So for example, in this code I have mentioned as display underscore items. So in my function module I have to declare this, that my user command would be display underscore items. So if you see, the user command system is asking. So let me so basically using this system will trigger this. So here execute this now. Let's see. So you see now it's already automatically it's going to hit that subroutine which we have declared at the end of the program. And if I do a SAP-ABAP here, sorry, UCOM, it's not SAP-ABAP. So UCOM, because I'm capturing the value in UCOM. So you can see that whenever you do a double click, that will be captured as an ampersand IC1 by SAP. So now you might wonder here that why there is no perform and the form is directly being used. So basically, the moment you, okay, I will go back again. So basically, the moment you enter this here, system creates a subroutine at runtime by default, which means the perform by default at runtime, and then the form of that perform or the subroutine will be called automatically. So I hope you have got the concept. So we'll mention case, as I mentioned, case is better than if ended when ampersand IC1. Now what we can do here is okay. So till now it's okay that I have got my user command. So I need to do something here so that I can display the secondary output. Now in the ALV grid display, as I mentioned in the interactive report, normal interactive report, there was a limit of 20 secondary list. In ALV grid display there is interactive ALV report, there is no such limit. Now here itself what we can do, we can create the other output as well. For example, so we have 1 1, so we will create the details for secondary report where we it underscore VBAP, this text will remain same, it underscore fcat1. So this way just filling my second field catalog as well, and you need to keep on filling till the time you want to do a drill down. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This one should be 5 6. So till now positioning is correct. So VBELN, then we have listener, and then text is, let's say last was 11. 1 is fine because it's common text. We had sales order in the previous screen also. Let's make it 12, then 13. Third one is METNR. 14. METWA, then PMET again. Let's call it 15. And then CHARG. Let's call it 16. And then we have MTKL. So it's basically, we'll call it 17. ARKTX. We'll call it 18. Now if we do, sorry, don't do it here. So we'll go to text number 12 onwards. Copy it from here. It's already taken. Okay. So activate this. So our field cat is done. The second field cat, that is ITFCAT1. So what we can do, whenever there is a double click, we can refer ITFCAT1 and then we can call the filtered data. So what I'm going to do here is basically, so there are two ways of doing it. What we can do, we can read IT underscore VBAP based on VBELN and then move everything in new internal table by putting a loop, or move everything directly in a new internal table and then delete that internal table where our sales documents are not matching with our double clicked field. So I'm going to go with this approach. So here I'll create a dummy internal table. Let's the data. Because it's a local, I'll use LT underscore VBAP type UI underscore VBAP. Okay. What I'm going to LT underscore VBAP. This is called body equal to IT underscore VBAP. So this way, the body of LT VBAP will be moved to IT VBAP. So if there are 1000 records will be transferred here as well. And then let's go back to that web page once again. Yeah, so we need to do one more thing here is that we need to read the internal table based on the index. So basically in this particular field, when we are doing a double click, basically it will read the index of that particular field, which means the positioning of that in the internal table. Based on that, we have to read the internal table, that is ITVPAK. So what I did, for now this is fine. Then let's read IT underscore VBAK. Read table IT underscore VBAK. We create a local work area ls underscore VBAK. So the benefit of this is this into index. So now I know that if I'm just double clicking on 10th field, so 10th field, so system will go to this internal table, that is my first ALV output. It will go and read the value of the 10th field, store it in ls underscore VBAK, and then based on that what I can do, if reservoirs is initial, then delete LT underscore VBAP where weblam not equal to ls VBAK hyphen, which means if I double click on, let's say 1 2 3, so whatever is not 1 2 3, that will be deleted from the line item table. Then if not, LT underscore VBAP is initial, which means there is some data in LT VBAP. So what we can do, we can call the function module again. Grid display again, you can call here. That is again important, so IT underscore FC1 ls, sorry, LT underscore VBAP, this one. So if there is data, then it will be displayed, else nothing will happen. let's put a breakpoint so that you can also understand the flow. That's what we are trying to do here. So I execute this report, further execute. Okay, let's say 4969, do a double click on 4969. So if you come here, then you will see that this field stores the value as 1. That is my first record. So tab is 1. If I go do an F5, so I know that my UCOM is double click, which is fine. So you can see that we have 2732 records for all the line items, all the sales order. It will be moved to this also. But then what I did, when I'm reading this one, so this field hyphen will have my sales document number. Based on that, I will just filter this internal table. So if you see here, we have written that delete this internal table where sales order number is not this, which means if I execute this statement, then 2732 records will not be there. Only one record is there because there is only one line item. This table is still there, so you can confirm it from there. So you have only one line item for this. So if there is some value, just display it. So you can see that I got my second output, 4969. So if I go back, execute this. So now I'm going to remove the breakpoint so that we can see it properly. So if I double click on 72, so I got all the line items of 72. Go back. So I got all 4982, 4992. So all the line items are coming. 4969 just one line item. So everything is working fine now. So this is how we create a secondary interactive ALV report. In fact, I have been involved into project management for quite some time and started forgetting the things. So even I need to refer to my insights and also. Anyway, that is okay. As long as it works, it's fine. So you see here that what I did that to create an interactive ALV report, whenever you call the function module in the first grid output or list output, at the same time itself you need to give the user command name here. Based on that, system will generate a perform or a subroutine for which you need to write a form. So once you write the form, you need to capture the size UCOM in this field UCOM. You can write anything here ABC based on this and this. So based on this index, you can go and read your first internal table, that is VBAK, on the first page or first grid display. Based on that, you can filter your second internal table and you can display it in the output. So that is the concept of interactive report, and then you can go ahead and try creating an interactive report today. So in my agenda, interactive report is also done. User command, as you saw here, it's already done here. I have called the user command. For now, this is also done. PF status, join statement, update table. These three things we will finish tomorrow, and then we are done with ALV. After that, we will move to string operations and dynamic internal table subroutines. So these things will take another 2 to 3 days, and then we will move to the main topics. So for today, just go ahead and try creating an interactive ALV report. And also, I've been going through the emails which you guys have sent to me, and then I tried responding to all of them. So you can keep writing to me if in case you have any queries, just let me know, and then I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. So thanks for your time. We'll see you again tomorrow. Let me know if you don't understand anything. Drop me an email. I'll revert back, or you can post a comment directly on the YouTube video itself, and then I'll get a notification and then I'll respond accordingly. Thank you guys. Thanks once again.